Jojo.
An appointment of alternates. Barbara is not here, but we have no alternates either, but we still do have a quorum. If I could have a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Bill, I move we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Karen Christensen, I second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor? Karen?
Aye.
Tom Lansner?
Aye.
Bill?
Yes.
Tom Talamini?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, approval of minutes for regular meeting October 21st, 2020.
The minutes that were sent with the package are for September 16th. I didn't realize that just a little while ago when I started reading them, so this didn't sound right.
So I didn't
That's
realize
right.
they were
Yep.
either
Yep.
until Monday when I read my package in preparation for tonight and realized they were September. So I checked, and the town clerk has not received them, but the recording secretary said she sent them. So we will have to table them until next month and have both October and November on December's agenda.
Correct.
Can I make one minor spelling change to the September minutes?
Nope. They
Nope,
were already approved.
Okay.
they're already done and approved.
What was the mistake though? So we can make sure it doesn't keep happening.
It was under number 7, communications.
Okay.
And in the first sentence, employees, that's a singular possessive, and the plural possessive has the apostrophe after the S.
Okay.
I know I'm being nitpicky here.
That's good.
Hey. All right, so next would be public participation, which I don't see any hands. I don't see anything, so I'm going to go with no public participation. And number 7 is communication. Amy, anything from you?
Do you want me to do the resignation?
Can you, can you pull it up?
I do not have it.
I do not either. So
I do.
you can
Oh,
do
Jay can.
Jason. So if you could, because my other laptop's not working to pull up the resignation, if you wouldn't mind reading it for the board.
Yep. Give me a moment.
Okay.
Oops.
The other thing would be that no communication, whatever that analysis of the salary FOI request they asked for, nothing ever showed up at town hall.
Yeah, and I could not go to Jack's and stop by and pick it up like he asked, unfortunately. So I still have not gotten it. I mean, I'm lucky to get home for these meetings, so it's really hard to get by Jack's to try to pick up the binder. But Noreen popped back on, so maybe we can just, Noreen, are you there? Oh, I see her.
I am.
Did you get a chance to go through the binder at all? I did not get a chance to go get the binder.
It's no, it's partially. It's slow. It's a big binder.
Okay.
And things have been a little crazy. Hopefully by the next meeting.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I just wanted to touch base.
Okay.
All right. Jason, are you ready yet?
I am.
All right. Go ahead.
In a letter addressed to the chairman of the Board of Finance and to the entire board dated November 16th, it reads, Geraldine, it is with sadness that I must resign my position on the East Windsor Board of Finance. As of last week, I am no longer a resident of East Windsor. Over the last almost 2 years, I have enjoyed working with you and the other board members, learning about our community and assisting with decisions that impact the entire town. It's not easy to make unpopular decisions, but I hope I will be remembered for consistently fighting for what I believe to be in the best interests of our entire town and not just with special interest groups. This has truly been a learning journey for me and one that I hope has made a difference to East Windsor. All my best to you, Amy, Bill, Karen, Noreen, Tom, and Danelle. My very best, Barbara Patano.
So unfortunately, Barbara will not be with us any longer, and that will leave a Democratic seat open to be filled on the board. We fill the active members, whereas alternates are filled by Board of Selectmen. So those of you Democrats on our board, I guess it's now time for you to find out if there is any interest in a board position. So, and Jason, is there not a time frame from when we got the letter that we have to do it in?
45 days,
And it was dated what day again? It was just like a couple days ago she sent it.
November 16th. So you have basically until December 30th.
Okay. So now, Jason, quick question. What happens if by December 30th, no Democrat is interested in the full-time seat?
It's a special election open to anybody.
Okay. All right. All right. So.
Which, by the way, costs us another like $6,000 that we don't need to spend.
Okay, so let's not do that, guys. Let's find somebody interested that wants to hop on board. So when is our next meeting? So because it wasn't on the agenda and we're trying to do things that are not on the agenda, Amy, probably we can put that just quickly on the agenda for next month.
December
Yes.
16th.
Yeah, okay. Sound like a plan?
Yep.
All right, so we're on to number 8, monthly reports. Letter A, town financial, and I'll hand that over to you, Miss Amy.
Okay. Nothing outstanding that jumps out at me. Taxes are doing well. We're actually, if you look at the analysis of the revenue, we're actually a little bit ahead of where we were in both 1920 and 1819. We are at 57.69% of current taxes versus 57.44 versus 56.75. So considering the situation, we're doing pretty well. We did hear today that motor vehicle SUP is down, but considering people weren't buying new cars between October 2nd and July 31st for probably at least half of it, that's not surprising. I don't know what that will mean for our budget, because in the past we've been a good share over budget, but the last couple of years we have increased it. So we'll have to see what it means. I don't have those numbers yet. The bills will be processed and sent out for December 18th. That's revenue. We did get a new building permit for Silverman, $104,000, but it's not in yet. And this is only through October anyhow. I don't think there's anything else. No surprises. We got our first 25% of ECS. We got our pilot money. So far things are looking good.
COVID reimbursement.
Oh, yeah, we got $81,000 from the CRF funds, the Corona Relief Funds. We didn't end up getting anything from FEMA because FEMA kind of changed the rules and said it has to be a first line person, police or fire, dealing with a specific COVID incident to be covered, to be PPE or sanitizer or any of that stuff, which would be very hard to track, especially after the fact. So the decision was to pull our FEMA submission and just go for CRF funds for the whole $81,000. And the only thing that wasn't covered was $96 of ink and office supplies. Everything else got approved.
On that point, Amy, I was on a call tonight with the state leadership, and Secretary McCaw indicated that they're going to change how they're doing the second installment of the CRF support fund. They're going to be doing it as a grant instead of a reimbursement. There's going to be further communication from intergovernmental on that in the next couple of days.
Okay. So that breakdown was 11,000 belongs to WPCA, 42,000 belongs to the Board of Ed, The rest ends up in the general fund, but I booked it all as the fiscal year 1920 because that's when the expenses were related to. So basically, if you looked at your 1920 financials now, they would look different because there would be less expenditures in there than there were before. So there's some places that we might have transferred money to that now have surpluses. But it is what it is. It was too late in the fact we didn't even know we were getting it until a week ago. But when I talked to the auditors, they wanted it booked instead of being miscellaneous income in this year. They want it booked against last year. So that's what I did. Anything else on revenue?
Yeah, I had a quick question, Amy. Tom
Sure.
Lansner. When I look at the cumulative report of cash, it's page 8A1. Current taxes are listed as 19,018,358. And then when I go over to the Munis page, the current tax revenue is a little bit lower.
So that's deposits in transit at the end of the month.
Okay, thanks.
The tax collector collects them and counts them, but they don't make it to the bank.
Got it. Thanks.
Yep.
Any
So,
questions on that for Amy?
so expenditures, we don't have really anything. I have a couple transfers coming tonight to cover some things that you'll see as a deficit. But all the transfers we did last month are in here. And I don't have anybody significantly overspent or concerned that they're not going to have enough money to cover. Fire did bring to me that they're not sure their salary is going to have enough money, but they think there's enough in their annuity payments to cover it. But they're two different lines. One's a salary category and one's a benefit category. So I will be back to make a transfer later in the year if that really becomes the case. I don't think there's anything else unless somebody has a specific question. Oh, planning, we'll be back for more money for professional services from the full-time salary. We still don't have a planner. We've been out twice. We'll have to go out again, but I had only done a transfer to cover through December. So in December, I will be back for more money, and it's just a transfer from one to the other. We're actually spending less money for our contract service than we would be if we had a planner just in salary alone, never mind benefits that we're not paying either because we're contracting. I don't think there's anything else. We're missing our assistant assessor, but that is interviews on the way. My part-time person and interviews in process, and a part-time person in social services is being filled now. Very busy with HR related stuff at Town Hall. Did anybody have any expenditure questions?
No.
Yeah, Tom Lansner, I had just one quick one. On page 818, it's capital outlay. It says we expended all of the money in the CIP allocation, the 920,000.
Yep, because we send it over to that CIP fund
Okay.
called CNR, which there's a report of that in here too.
Yeah, I
And
saw
in
that.
there,
Okay,
You can see the rest of the money that's hanging out there.
good. Thank you.
So we still have $2.9 million available in the CNR that's not spent yet.
Okay, thanks.
This is Bill. I mean, I read through everything and I have no questions at this time.
Anybody else? All right, so we will go on to BOE FY 1920. Christine?
So there is an updated memo following the last Board of Ed meeting. Obviously, as Amy mentioned, the coronavirus relief funds came in. The majority of what came to the Board of Ed actually will be returned to the town general fund as well. We paid for those expenses out of our general fund. And if we were to reimburse our accounts with that, it would put our funds available for the 2% fund over the cap that we have. So approximately $38,000 will revert back to the general fund The memo has the final of what we have available for the 2% fund, which we are able to max out based on what we were able to save out of last year's budget. We've talked about it before with COVID. We didn't spend the money on subs. We didn't spend exactly the money on utilities. There were just a variety of things that we typically would have spent that we did not. So, and then we did release final POs, which accounts for a little bit of additional money that would have been available. So that, I think, is it for FY20.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, this is Tom again. On the Excel spreadsheet that follows, would it be possible to put the date on there? Because when I was looking at it, there's no indication of what month and year it was. The other question I had, when I'm looking at page A82, the second line, the last column where it says % used, in the second line, it says % used 0. So I was just trying to understand what that means.
If I can,
Go ahead, Andy.
I can answer that. That was when we export it out of Excel, it comes out as text, and so we had to. That's going to be fixed in the next iterations that we use, and we're I'll say playing around with reports that to give the BOE a different flavor to see which kind of reports they want.
Okay.
So in the conversion from text to Excel, it didn't pick up the formula.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I noticed that in a few other lines as
Yeah,
well.
there's a few of them. You're absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and if there was a date, anywhere.
Yeah, the date, I can put that on those in the future, but if you read the cover memo, it states the date that report was run as of.
Yeah.
But I can put those also on the.
Yeah, in
on
case
that,
the
so not a
cover
problem.
memo gets separated from the rest. Thanks, Andy.
Not a problem.
Anybody else?
Again, this is Bill. I mean, I looked through everything at this time. I have no questions. My only question is, we set the fund up. We don't have to make a motion to put that money in there, do we, for the 2% fund, or it just automatically goes there? Or do we need a motion to do that?
No, we have to vote on it every year.
Okay.
To approve to have the 2% fund for them to do the 2% fund. So we probably should put that on December's meeting.
So the 478,380 that was from this, last current year, that automatically goes there because we set the fund, correct? We don't need a motion to put it there. It automatically goes because we set the fund, correct?
I don't know. I think we still need to vote on it. No, Amy?
I don't think so, because you already agreed to set up the fund for them.
Okay.
All right.
So I think you're probably okay for this year. I can double check with Mike because we're in the middle of audit right now.
Okay.
So I can double check with Mike, and if we need to, I could put it on December's agenda.
Okay. But to do this for next year, we would have to have a motion to set the fund again for next year.
Yeah. Let's just make sure though, because I would hate to not do it the right way.
Yep. That was
So
my
if you
question for.
Check,
for
that
what
would
they
be
put in.
awesome. Thanks. All right, so onward.
Want to hear about 21, or am I not on for 21?
You are
Okay.
on 2021.
Sorry, I can't see the agenda and my stuff at the
I
same
know
time.
the feeling.
FY21, the Board of Ed has had both coronavirus relief grants approved. We have a total of about $500,000. One of them is the eSurf. I keep forgetting what all the letters stand for, but that was one grant that's relief. That was about $160,000. And then we just had the CRF approved. That's just over $300,000. That is bulk, lots of work on our HVAC system to maximize its efficiency, work expenditures for lots of PPE, hand sanitizers, disinfectants, that are over and above what we would have budgeted. So we are using, in my opinion, we're using those funds very wisely to cover the needs of the district. I think that our mitigation strategies have been working well. Tonight, unfortunately, I had to share, we've had our 4th case in district, but given the circumstances of some districts surrounding us, I feel very fortunate. We're doing very, very well. And at this point, with the governor and the commissioner of education and the Department of Public Health strongly encouraging schools to stay open as community spread of COVID-19 is not being seen in schools. They are encouraging us to stay open and give our kids every day of in-person learning that they can have. So right now, that it's the plan, but as I've said before, the caveat at the end of everything I say is as of right now. Our cafeteria, there's some good news, bad news. The good news is our participation are up. So of the students we have in the building, more of them are eating lunch especially. We're, as of November, tracking right now, we're up 10 to 12% for lunch participation, which is great. The negative is only half of our kids were in the building for most of the school year so far. And that only changed as of this Monday, 2 days ago, when now all of our kids are in 4 days a week. So obviously overall participation is down. That is consistent across the state. Pretty much all superintendents that I have interacted with at superintendents meetings are sharing that food service programs are being very hard hit because of the same situation across the state. And at the last meeting, the commissioner made reference to research is being done to see if there's some relief for food service programs. We are getting, we have free and reduced lunch for all of our students. It's a double ways. One, we're part of the extended summer, which was put into place for COVID-19 support for students. So we're part of that program. And then even when that ends, which now has been extended through the end of the school year, but even when that program ends, East Windsor has a high enough rate of free and reduced lunch students that we are free breakfast and lunch for all of our students anyway. So it's a slightly higher rate of reimbursement. I mean, like cents per meal, but even still, it is, we believe it's encouraging some students who weren't paying and weren't eating to participate. So a little bit skewed of a year to be judging the performance of the food service department when we only have part of the kids in the buildings. But we're encouraged that at least our daily participation is, percentage of participation is up. That's positive. We are not getting a lot of subs this year. One, surprisingly, wants to come into a public school district in the midst of a global pandemic. I don't know why, but that's that's what we're dealing with. So, I'm not sure if there's any other questions. We're trying to hang as long as we can.
Anybody?
Wow. Geraldine, Noreen, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
On the $500,000, Christine, in grants that you got for the COVID situations, those are earmarked for specific items, or do you have some leeway in that, or?
I have leeway within the categories that they've allotted funding.
Okay, but they have to go to specific COVID related.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
All right, and then back to just to the fund, the carryover fund balance situation. Do you have a plan as to what you're going to spend that money on? My concern is that, you know, it's a good amount of money, and could spend it on a lot of things, but we may not have it next year. So is it being earmarked for anything specific for this year that might not be available for next year?
No, actually, my greatest hope is that those funds can sit there and be available to the Board of Ed, and that we actually don't need it this year. So that's, right now, our budget is in good shape. I do not anticipate, but, you know, I've learned in my many years of working with special education is you should never say that you don't anticipate needing extra funds for special ed needs. So that could always happen, certainly. Right now, we would be able to address a variety of needs, but a few years ago, we had a very substantial hit with a number of special education students moving in, and it would, if my memory serves, you know, that kind of situation could require us to tap into that. But at this point, our hope is that we do not require that this year and it can just remain there.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else? Thank you, Christine.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to letter 8D, which is the transfer request for FY 2021. So the first is number 19. So if somebody wants to make the motion and then we can discuss it.
Well, before I make a motion, that is Park and Rec part-time to planning, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That covers
So
math.
you want a little story?
Well, it confused me earlier when I was
be-
reading it over, so I just wanted to, before I make a motion that may not be correct, I want to make sure it's correct.
Amy, just be careful about disclosing too much.
Okay.
So now she's not talking, so.
So it's Park and Rec money that's being paid out of the planning department to cover for the expenses of an intern we brought on to help us prepare for the office renovations and moving offices around.
Okay. All right. So I'll move that we approve transfer request number 19 for fiscal year 2021 for the planning department, the amount of $8,000 from Park and Rec part-time salary to planning part-time salary.
Okay, so is there a second?
Tom Lansner, I'll second.
Okay, so now is there any discussion?
Well, I mean, so I guess we just use Park and Rec people to do stuff in the town hall under the planning department, I guess is what my understanding is.
Yes. So the kids didn't get to work this summer because none of the park programs were open.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it gave an opportunity for some of the kids to work.
Okay. That's fine. I just curious. So.
All right, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Lansner,
Yes.
Bill Syme,
Yes.
Tom Telemini.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Number 20.
I'll move we approve transfer request number 20 for the police department, the amount of $76,547 from officer salary to police clerical.
Is there a second?
Tom Lansner, I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
We, I think I remember hearing something about this earlier. This is it was a planned thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So Amy, do you or Jason have a little bit more detail? My only, it's coming out of officer salary going to police clerical. So that's going to be a salary that's missing during budget time?
Yes, because they had an officer leave, retire in the summertime. And felt it was a more important need to get this communications position in there that they asked for in last year's budget that didn't get approved. So now I have to move the money to go with the body.
Okay.
So we can expect in their budget, they're going to be asking for $76,000 more in an officer salary.
I don't know that for sure.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. So all those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Tom Lansner,
Yes.
Bill Syme,
Yes.
Tom Talamini.
Yes.
Okay, motion clearly passes. Number 21, emergency management.
I'll move we approve transfer request number 21 for emergency management in the amount of $4,700 from contingency to emergency management communication.
Is there a second?
Tom Lansner, I'll second.
Okay, and now I'm not sure I want you guys to do this.
What?
There was a staff meeting today and the discussion was, so we have to pay for a different part of the Everbridge phone system for Jason's weekly calls, and the total's just shy of $9,000. So we had split it half between emergency management and half for community outreach between Jay's budget. But today on our staff meeting call, that they said, why isn't that COVID? So then it would go to a different line. It would go to the EMS supply line instead.
So Amy, can you run that line over until we get more guidance from OPM on what the grant parameters are going to be?
Yes, I could, or we could make the transfer there and then move it out if we want to move it out after.
Does it really matter which one we do? Amy?
No, I guess that's really up to you guys. If you approve it, then I'll move the money there for now. And then we will move it to emergency. It's coming from the same spot, whether it goes to emergency management communications or whether it goes to emergency management supplies.
Yeah.
So.
So I lost track. I have my motion. Did I have a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bill and Tom.
Okay. So why don't we just, well, you guys can decide. If you vote no, she'll move it next time when we get more direction. And if you vote yes, she'll move it again. So all those in favor, Karen,
No.
Tom Lansner,
Yes.
Bill Syme,
Yes.
Tom Talamini.
No.
Sorry, the dog just knocked everything off the table. Okay, motion. Oh, wait.
You break the tie.
Yeah, thanks.
Actually, we forgot to put Noreen as the alternate.
I was
because-
just going to say that when the
Became
tie
later.
happens. So we should probably do that before we go on to our next transfer. And I'll just vote no on this and we can fix it later so the motion doesn't pass.
Okay.
And so can somebody make a motion now that Noreen is with us that we can put her in as a voting member?
I'll move that we move Noreen is a voting member
Well,
in place of Barbara Patano.
thank you. Is there a second?
Tom Lansner, I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Tom Lansner,
Yes.
Bill Syme,
Yes.
Tom Talamini.
Yes.
Motion passes. Now we will go on to number 22.
I'll move we approve transfer request number 22 for the police department, amount of $38,795 from fund balance to CIP.
Is there a second?
Tom Lansner, I'll second.
All right. Is there any discussion?
So I guess I'll share that this one and the next one are actually ones that we talked about last month. We are moving $38,795 from the use of fund balance over to the CIP line in the general fund in this one. And then the next one moves it from the general fund over to the actual police equipment line in the CIP fund. And it's for body and dash cameras. And the memo is the next item in your package, 8D2. Oh, I guess 2, 3, 4.
So is there any other discussion on number 22? All right, so all those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Tom Lansner,
Yes.
Bill Syme,
Yes.
Tom Talamini,
Yes.
and Noreen Farmer.
Yes.
Motion passes. On to number 23.
I'll move approve transfer request number 23 for the police department in the amount of $38,795 from CIP to police equipment line.
Is there a second?
Tom Lansner, I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Tom Lancer,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tom Talamini,
Yes.
and Noreen.
Yes.
Motion passed. And last one, number 24.
I'll move approve transfer request number 24 for the police department in the amount of $12,167.14 to IT licensing in the amount of $3,000 and IT equipment in the amount of $9,167.14.
Is there a second?
Tom Lansner, I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Tom Lansner,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tom Talamini,
Yes.
and Noreen.
Yes.
And the motion passes. All right, we are good. All right, so we'll move on to number 9, Board of Selectmen updates and referrals. Jason, are you there?
I'm always here. I don't have anything presently that's Board of Finance related. There's been just an endless amount of writing happening in my office lately, but none of it's finance related. Oh, the annual report submissions should be ready for the Board of Finance's review very shortly. I think Melissa's just going through those one last time before turning them over. That's all I can think of at the moment.
Okay, awesome. And Christine, Board of Education updates and referrals. Did you have anything additional on top of what we already went over?
I don't think so. Unless Kathy, you can think of anything I didn't share, that's fine.
I don't have anything else.
All right, so it's on to new business, which is 2021 meeting dates and the FY 21-22 budget letter review, which you should have gotten in your packet. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the letter review?
No, I think it's good, straightforward, to the point.
Yep, me too. Anybody else? All right, so yeah, there's nothing, I think it's straight to the point and is fine to be sent out. And as far as the meeting dates, Aim?
Yes.
Yes. How are we all with that?
Looks good.
So I did all the same approximate time of our budget meetings from last year on the original calendar. So their presentations, they get given to you at the March 17th meeting, with the first public hearing being the 24th and a budget workshop after that. And then basically all those other dates are coinciding with whatever dates we had last year. With Monday, April 12th, last year, we actually did our regular meeting on that same Monday because the next week I think was April vacation. But I still need that date because you need to make sure that all your news, the flyer, if we're doing a flyer, is done and approved for it to get. I can't wait till April 21st to get that to the printer to be in the households by the deadlines of May 1st in the charter.
So
Is it-
Amy, this is Jason. We are able to turn around the Five Village Voice in a shockingly short amount of time, and that is published by the Willimantic Chronicle. So you might want to do some due diligence between now and when you need to do it to see if there's another more expeditious way of doing it.
Okay, right now it's done by the special needs, the company that runs the people with the special needs. So that's where we've done it, and it's been done relatively inexpensive. I want to say $600 is all we pay for it, other than the postage, which will be the same no matter where we go.
Right. Okay, does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah,
I
this
think
is,
you have to approve the meeting dates so that I can forward them to the town clerk as your approved meeting dates.
Okay, sounds good. Before we do that, Tom, what did you want to say?
yeah, I was wondering, since last year, it seemed like a lot of the same people presented to the Board of Selectmen and then did a second presentation to the Board of Finance. Would there be any reason not to have joint meetings with the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen listening to the same presentation rather than have the presenters have to do two presentations?
Other than it's about 2 months apart.
Yeah.
In years,
What is
in
it?
years past, we did it that way, and I would have no objection at all to doing it that way again if that's what the Board of Finance wanted to do.
So could I make a motion then that we combine our budget workshops with the Board of Selectmen meeting workshops?
I
We
feel
can-
you're shaking your head, so I'm gonna let.
I mean, we can listen to them, but I mean, we still have to have our workshops after the Board of Selectmen go through what the departments present to them.
Right.
So I mean, I have no problem listening to their presentation, but if we, the Board of Selectmen make a change, I mean, we have the right to question them on, is that a change that really needs to stay or not? So
And I
I can
think,
look at it. I can see both sides of it. I just think that, our dates, we still need to be where we are because we need to look it over after the Board of Selectmen go through it. So,
Well, would we have our meetings just to discuss what we heard at the Board of Selectmen's meetings? Or would we have like separate meetings with the presenters? That was, my thought was, why make the presenters do it twice?
well, they
and-
don't, oops, sorry, Tom, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
They don't really have to come to see us because most of us do go to the Board of Selectmen ones and listen to the Board of Selectmen ones. They do come a good percentage of the time though, because that's when we're going to cut sometimes or add back what the selectmen did. So they want to be there in order to hear what's going on and to reaffirm what they're asking for.
Okay. Okay, I guess I'll withdraw my motion then.
Geraldine, it's Noreen, I have a question. Jason, it's more for Jason, I believe. When you have your meetings, if they're not posted as like a joint meeting between the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen, are Board of Finance people who are in attendance able to have conversation with those presenting?
The rules on a workshop are a lot more lax than a formal meeting. I would not allow people who weren't noticed on an agenda to participate in a regular meeting, but a workshop is kind of by nature supposed to be a little bit more informal and a little bit more collaborative. So I'm happy to have you guys participate if there's interest. I think Tom's point is well taken, that it makes sense to kind of have everybody hearing the same thing.
I agree with that. And I know we used to do it like that in the past. There were joint meetings and they were very collaborative between, things the Board of Finance, the things the Board of Selectmen were asking, were getting bounced off, and we all kind of were getting on the same page, sort of. So I just, as long as your workshops, if we're in attendance, we can participate, that works.
Yeah, I would have no problem with that.
Oops, sorry, Jason. Anybody else? Any questions? Tom, I mean, you can still make your motion.
No, I'm okay. I can see Bill's point, so I think that's fine. I will make a motion to approve the meeting dates as presented.
Okay, and is there a second?
This is
Ben
Bill. I'll second
Christensen,
it.
I'll second.
All right, any more discussion on the meeting dates? All right, all those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Tom Lansner,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tom Talamini,
Yes.
and Noreen.
Yes.
So the motion passes. Jason, you don't need a motion for the budget letter, right?
No, I'll just put it out.
Okay, thanks. All right, we're on to number 12, which is unfinished business, which there is none that I know of. Number 13, board member comments. Karen Christensen, anything?
No, nothing tonight. Thank you.
Okay, Tom Lansner,
Nothing for me.
Bill Stein.
I'm good.
All right, Tom Talamini.
I'm okay tonight.
All right, Noreen.
Stay safe, everyone, over the holidays.
Absolutely. Be careful. Our upcoming meeting date is December 16th at 7 o'clock. And if there's a motion to adjourn.
Tom telling me I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Tom Lancer, I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Tom Lansner,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tom Talamini,
Yes.
Noreen.
Yes.
All right, we're all set. Happy Thanksgiving, guys, and I echo Noreen, stay safe.
Absolutely.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a good night, everybody.
Nine.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.